weighed in at 232. Hailing from Denver, Colorado, he has a professional record of 7 wins, 9 losses, 2 draws, with 4 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Louis Monaco. And his opponent, fighting directly across from him out of the blue corner. He's wearing the blue trunks with red trim and weighed in at 232.5 pounds. Coming to us from Hartford, Connecticut, this 1996 U.S. Olympian is currently ranked number 15 by the WBC and is undefeated with 5 wins, and all of them coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lawrence Clay-Bey. Once again, your referee in charge, Bill Holmes, now to give the instructions.
Okay, gentlemen, you received your instructions in the dressing room. Protect yourselves at all times. Obey my commands. Touch them up.
Lawrence Clay-Bey, who started boxing at the age of 10. He won 12 straight amateur fights, and then his first retirement came at the age of 12. Actually got into football, got into a life of actual work, including being a corrections officer, a welder, and did not get back into boxing until he was 26. Resumed his amateur career, became a U.S. national amateur champion at the age of 29, and then repeated at the age of 30, went into the Olympics, and here he is now, 31, embarking on his pro career. The irony here, he is the promising prospect going up against the journeyman, who is actually, the journeyman is younger than the promising prospect, in Monaco at 29 years of age. So Lawrence Clay-Bey, who will be 32 next month, and he is ready to rock, so he takes a step up here against Monaco, a guy who has been in there against Trevor Berbick, Jeremy Williams, Kevin McBride, Michael Grant, Michael Dokes, Buster Douglas, Kirk Johnson, and Monaco had a little story going for him. He had knocked off Michael Dokes, he had beaten Kevin McBride, who was 19-0, and then the Buster Douglas fight, for what it was worth, Frankie Douglas, although it was after the bell and he got disqualified, but got more notoriety for that than any of his other fights. But then a slide. He lost to undefeated Gary Bell in a 10-rounder, came back 11 days later to get a network shot, and was beaten by Kirk Johnson. And there he goes down in the first. That has not been seen before. Louis Monaco feels the power off the movement of Lawrence Clay-Bey. And we'll see how Clay-Bey reacts to this one. Monaco, known to be a rock, he does not go down in fights, but just having the difficulty with the movement of Clay-Bey.
And has been criticized for starting slowly in the fight. He's trying to begin quicker. The right hand from Clay-Bey, and a retaliation.
Yeah, Monaco gets a right in.
Monaco has landed a couple of shots in this first round. But the heavy punch from Clay-Bey. Clay-Bey extremely patient in the ring.
Monaco did not have any amateur fights. Said he had a lot of fights in the streets of Chicago. A weightlifter, as you might be able to tell. And comes in as a one-dimensional puncher. There's a new trainer now, says they're working on boxing to go along with the punching. But he's just started working on that, and he is in against a guy like Clay-Bey. As you can see, the angle's right there. And it's probably very confusing for Monaco. Clay-Bey who can combine the mobility along with some power.
And the accuracy of Clay-Bey. Clay misses very few shots. Most of his punches are right on the target.
All 1-800-Sundays.
In the D.C. area, and there is former heavyweight champion Riddick Bowe. Is he sitting there at ringside as a spectator, or is he scouting things out? Several heavyweights on the card here tonight.
And rumors have been circulating that Maybe getting back in the ring soon.
Well, we're going to send you out there to confirm those.
I'd like to find out.
So stay tuned. Round number 2, Louis Monaco down in the first round. Fighter has been learning on the job. He had 10 fights in 1996. This is his 7th in 97. And he says he's learning from facing top flight competition. He says if you want to get anywhere, looking for an accelerated course from experienced teachers. And got a lesson in round number 1 from Lawrence Clay-Bey. This is a scheduled 8-round fight.
Yeah, Monaco was working for a moving company in Denver when his boss saw him move a refrigerator. His boss said, hey, if you can move the refrigerator, you can move boxers. So once you start fighting, so he picked up the sport of boxing.
Did he say boxers or boxes?
Maybe perhaps it was boxers.
He just picked up that refrigerator, put it on his back, and hauled it out of there.
And you really see the difference in what an amateur program can mean to a kid. Lawrence Clay-Bey grew up through the amateurs. Monaco is still rough around the edges, trying to learn, as you say, on an accelerated learning course.
He's a fighter who had a record of 3-3-2, learning as a pro in those first 8 fights. He was seen as a perfect opponent for Peter McNeely, who was coming off the Tyson fight and wanted to register a win in a hurry, but then Monaco knocked out McNeely. Then Monaco nearly beats Trevor Burback. Stepped up right away, found out he was not in the class of Jeremy Williams and Michael Grant, both of them taking Monaco out in the 3rd round. Then as an opponent goes out and beats 19-0 Kevin McBride, knocks down Michael Dokes early and wins a 10-rounder against him, and then the Buster Douglas fight. So Monaco was like 6-6 going in against Douglas and caught him. Although after the bell, that's the fight in which Douglas sat out for 5 minutes and elected not to return and was given the victory.
He said, I got beat by the bell, Monaco said. That's on wobble earlier, and remember we talked about that in that fight. Monaco cracked Douglas. Douglas wobbled a little bit. He said he knew that Douglas was going to go, and Douglas did, but it was after the bell.
The moment of opportunity in the career of Monaco, but he has not taken advantage of it. But he doesn't look at it that way. He looks at it, I still have had just 18 pro fights. I'm still learning. I still have this right hand.
But he cannot allow for this fight to grow lethargic. He has to put more pressure on. He's giving too much room and respect to that.
Over the years, I've been hit just here.
And overeating.
Take these back.
They're
Over.
to quit successfully. You know what? I like you better not smoking.
Well, after Lawrence Clay-Bey knocked down Louis Monaco in the 1st round, a sleeper in the 2nd in the scheduled 8-round fight. Lawrence Clay-Bey, the U.S. Olympian, was won all 5 of his pro fights, all of them by knockout, all of them within the first 3 rounds. Looked like he might have an early one here, although as Louis Monaco said before the fight, one thing I can promise you is that I will not quit. Clay-Bey has made other fighters stop early. Now Clay-Bey, with the bad intentions, that combination rips that one off against Monaco. And here's the situation we're talking about. Monaco has a big reach advantage, 80 inches to 73.5, but he's an inside fighter, trying to get in on Clay-Bey.
Yeah, look at those arms of Monaco. Not a lot of extension on those arms, even though he does have the long reach.
The reps are so muscular, you can't extend them that long.
That's my point.
I got it.
Get the point?
Well, so far, Clay-Bey hasn't gotten the point of the fists of Monaco.
No, but I tell you what has happened in this round here. Monaco came out strong. Clay-Bey said, wait a minute, with his punches, wait a minute, I'm not going to let you take control now. Monaco had landed some good debilitating shots to the body. Clay-Bey, good combination upstairs. You know, in these 8-round, 10-round, 12-round fights, the body shots accumulate.
Clay-Bey also, Jim, may be doing a little lulling act because he has a great explosion. And that's how he caught Monaco in the 1st round.
Yeah, he does. What he does is he lowers the tempo. Just good, slow walk, and then be at the fast explode. I like when fighters do that. That shows experience.
And you're seeing it here.
Yep.
Lawrence Clay-Bey, look at all the angles that he uses.
Yeah, and in contrast, Monaco is just a one-dimensional fighter. He only knows straight forward. There's a couple of low blows from Monaco, and he draws a warning from Bill Holmes. A lot of pushing, a lot of holding. Look at this from both fighters.
But this is good for Clay-Bey. I mean, he's had his first 5 fights. First fight was a 1-rounders, next 2 were 2-rounders, his last 2 were 3-rounders. So he's in a guy against the heavyweight who's going to push against him. A heavy bag, essentially, who does have a punch, so you have to watch out. An element of danger, but Clay-Bey so far in complete control in the first 3 rounds against a guy who's given contenders some trouble.
George, the Sprint.
And now, try Castro Syntec Power System, a new kind of fuel system treatment.
The IBF middleweight champion. He is tight. He is always determined, and he is tonight in the backyard of the challenger, Andrew Council, here in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. Our main event, the World Middleweight Championship.
Bernard Hopkins is so fun to watch because every match that he's in, it's a battle. You see the focus, the concentration on him when he gets in the ring.
All business, Bernard Hopkins, and he is right now in the boxing business, looking for his 6th title defense, hoping to someday unify the middleweight championship.
Well, watch your head when you're moving in like that. Good combination from Clay-Bey. The fast right and the left right behind it. However, you got to be careful when you're moving in that you don't run your face into the top of your opponent's head. Monaco really has kind of capitulated in this fight. He realizes that he's in there with a real sharp shooter, and Clay-Bey, however, with many of these fighters that enter the pro ranks, and Clay-Bey has only had 5 fights, they sometimes tire late in fights. If you've got 8 rounds to work with, that's something that you can wait for your opponent to tire. I think that's what Monaco is waiting for.
Although we have seen Monaco before, we've seen him tire. No, we've seen him tire in the late stages of fights. That's how he lost the fight to Trevor Burbick, a fight he was winning earlier, but lost the 10-rounder. Even in the win against Dokes, Dokes came on later as Monaco tired.
And his last fight with Kirk Johnson, he's tired late, ran out of gas. He said, though, for this fight, I'm in excellent shape. He says, I've had over a month's notice. Monaco did.
That's right. He had a day's notice before the Kirk Johnson fight. He had fought 11 days prior and went the distance with Gary Bell, so no wonder he tired in that fight. It was an ill-advised fight, but he could not pass it up against the 22-and-old Kirk Johnson. And again, this one's slowing down here in round number 4. And of course, Clay-Bey has never been tested. This is the first time he's ever been past the 3rd.
Yeah, can't quite hit the mark here. Look how Monaco is rolling with the punches.
And the mark is right in front of him.
Yeah, that is a big negative on Louis Monaco. He doesn't really use the angles. He is a one-style fighter, and sometimes goes a little bit too low. That's the big Monaco on Monaco.
And he's almost knocked out in this fight in the first round, but he's come back, and now we will conclude round number 4, halfway mark in the schedule, 8-rounder. The Showplace Arena. We are outside of D.C., Upper Marlboro, Maryland, for tonight's edition of USA's Tuesday Night Fights. And we are seeing former U.S. Olympian, heavyweight Lawrence Clay-Bey, who actually lost in his first bout in the Olympics, but a very close 10-8 decision against Vladimir Klitschko of the Ukraine. A fight in which it appeared as if Klitschko was just about ready to go at the final bell. And I think Clay-Bey would have, at that enjoyed full-round fight. So he was gone at the end of round number 1, but making his way as a pro in lightning fashion. 5 fights, 5 knockouts, 15th ranking in the heavyweight division by the WBC. So after 5 fights, according to WBC, that puts him only 7 notches behind George Foreman. And just 9 behind Ray Murphy. So what's Clay-Bey going to come up with right now? A new experience for him. This is the latest he has been in a fight.
Well, he says he is a switch hitter, and you see him switching around in the southpaw stance. Says he also likes it when others advance because he likes to punch to the body. I don't think we've seen very many punches downstairs from Clay-Bey. Clay-Bey's father, James, was a middleweight in the 60s. An exceptional boxer. Clay-Bey raised around the ring. Amateurs early used to go to the gym with his father.
Power shots by Clay-Bey, although they have basically been all upstairs. Speaking of power, the executioner, Bernard Hopkins. IBF middleweight championship is on the line against another power hitter in Andrew Council. 2 guys who do not like one another. And Bernard Hopkins, the champion, coming into the backyard of the challenger for this fight. That's the main event, the IBF World Middleweight Championship.
Oh, yeah, you know, their dislike for one another. You know, they're the acrimonious behavior of those who should spell a good fight.
Step back.
Dislike one another.
Monaco was down in round number 1. An oddity for this rock at 5'11", 232 pounds. Inside the final 10 seconds of the 5th.
Needs to get those hands out of his pockets. Not enough punches from Monaco.
Papa's got a friend.
Lawrence Clay-Bey working up a sweat, trying to figure out the magic that put Lucas Monaco down in the first round, but now this fight extending to the 6th. Clay-Bey at 6'2", 232.5 pounds. Looking to set up. He's in there against a fighter who is learning on the job. Monaco well aware that each time he steps in the ring, he is fighting over his head. A matter of fact, after the wins against McBride and Dokes and then that knockdown of Douglas, the next fight for Monaco against his journeyman Jesse Henry was the only fight in his career, the 16th fight of his pro career, in which Monaco actually went in as the favorite. And to this point, still the only fight in which he has gone in as a favorite. A couple of fights after that against Gary Bell, Kirk Johnson, and here tonight, still considered the underdog.
Well, that was against Jesse Henry, who was 5'8", and Monaco fought him. And I think if you fought Jesse Henry, I think he'd be your favorite.
Step back, no punch.
I agree.
My favorite.
You're always your favorite. That's what you meant, of course. Of course it's what I meant. Jesse Henry not calling.
It's very important for Monaco to have a good showing.
Step back.
In this, in hopes that he could catch Clay-Bey at the right time. But Clay-Bey is the one who has the high ranking on the line. And for this fight to end up going 8 rounds, after Clay-Bey able to put Lewis down on the canvas in the first round, really says a lot for his ranking. Fight of this nature, especially heavyweight, Clay-Bey should be able to knock out a fighter like Monaco.
Step back, no punches, step back.
Clay-Bey still learning, still working on a few things. He did want to get some rounds tonight.
Yeah, but the pace is so slow now.
Sure, are these really rounds for him?
Now now he's stepping back, going to the body. Monaco tries to return. Trying different angles now in Clay-Bey. Right now it's up to Clay-Bey to pick it up. Getting in, getting out, showing the different angles, and really
Alloy.
big finish at the end of that 6th round for Lawrence Clay-Bey, who's right now with a new experience of fighting into a 7th round, trying to test the waters, see what he has. This late in the fight, amateur fights, of course, never going beyond 3 in his first 5 pro fights. All have ended within 3 rounds. And Clay-Bey in the last few rounds basically pacing himself and then showing some of the explosions. But right now it's up to him the last couple of rounds to pick it up. He had Monaco down in the 1st round, and then at the end of the 6th, if the fight, if that round had extended any longer, it appeared as if he would have had Monaco down. And now the referee, Bill Holmes, having some work done on the glove of Monaco. We're about a minute into round number 7. Monaco comes in with a record of 7-9-2 with 4 knockouts, but he has played the spoiler.
Okay, turn around, we're going right from here.
In his young professional career, Clay-Bey has won all 5 of his pro fights, all by knockout. It's the longest he has been taken in any of his pro fights. At ringside, watching on, the D.C. native, former heavyweight champion Riddick Bowe, and Sean is now with Riddick. Champ?
Riddick, how are you? I hear that you are here tonight to scout out some opponents. What about that?
No, watch out.
For your comeback?
Oh, I'm not too sure about that, but we'll see what happens.
What do you mean what will happen? Does this mean you will be coming back, or you're still thinking about it, or what? I know I've heard rumors that you are thinking about coming back.
Well, you know, you gotta look at it like this in this aspect. I'm just too young. I'm a bit bored. I've been off for a whole year now. Well, you know, really at this point, I'm really not sure. I need to, you know, sit down and talk to my wife, talk to my mother, and talk with Israel and see what happens.
What do you think of this fight here? Lawrence Clay-Bey and Luis Monaco?
Well, Clarence is trying very hard, but so far I'm not impressed.
What would a Riddick Bowe do in there with either one of these fighters?
No, son, just as I know, I think you know too.
I know you're sitting over here itching to get back in there, Riddick.
I wouldn't have to bring a lunch, I'll tell you that.
All right. Well, I think we got the right here from Riddick Bowe. Al, he doesn't need a lunch for these 2 fighters.
Although he's never turned down a lunch, has he?
Yeah, you never turned down a lunch, have you, Riddick?
A couple.
A couple.
Well, he's got to get back into condition. I see you're sitting between manager Rock Newman and Riddick Bowe, so you're sitting right now between a rock and a soft place. You can't hear me. We have less than 30 seconds to go in this 7th round. I believe Riddick is now headed over here. Press table. Seconds to go in the 7th. Riddick Bowe not impressed, and some of the fans actually take a little catnap here as this fight extends.
Successfully. Commit to quit for the Great American Smokeout on November 20th.
Well, the Showplace Arena and the crowd here saying, show me something, as we move into the last round, the 8th and final round. Lawrence Clay-Bey, who has not impressed one ringsider, former heavyweight champion Riddick Bowe. I think just watching this fight, Riddick ready to come back.
Well, I think Riddick is in the majority on that. I'm not impressed with Clay-Bey. I think he can fight much better. And I think this crowd would agree with him.
And Luis Monaco waiting For what we don't know, he's lying back. Yes,
Ready for the ninth, yeah.
Well, maybe he's waiting for the eighth. But, you know, for Monaco, too, he may be utterly confused with the movement of the Clay-Bey. Although there's been much of this fight in which the two have essentially just stood in front of one another.
Well, Monaco has missed so many punches tonight, good hard punches, that he's afraid to throw them. He's in fear of missing.
Step back, no punches, step back.
The Clay-Bey, too, may be just beginning that gauge of going 8 rounds. And wants to go to 8 rounds.
Yeah, he's using this as a test. However, a fight like this,
No punches, step back,
for Clay-Bey, if he's going to try to see what the 8-round distance is like, perhaps a fight of this nature shouldn't be on TV for Clay-Bey. You know, we all want the exposure, but he should do this in the gym or off TV somewhere to make sure that he has he doesn't run out of gas. You're always apprehensive about going 10, 8, 12 rounds when you do it in the gym to make sure you can. It would be important for Clay-Bey to make a statement in a fight of this nature.
Let him go.
Coming down to a minute to go in a fight at this point. We're kind of happy it's an 8-rounder, not a 10. Now inside, Clay-Bey trying with the uppercuts. But a heavy Monaco leaning, trapping the arms.
Let's go.
Inside the final minute of this fight, Clay-Bey essentially way in front. And after this, we'll probably be happy to get his 8 rounds in. Now trying to finish strong.
Clay-Bey has won every round. You know, there's a good left hook from Clay-Bey. But those fighters that win every round tend to question their power. Can't knock out their opponent.
Well, with the final bell right there, Clay-Bey with a burst of energy still has something left in the well. He had Monaco down in the first round, trying to put him down here in the last. And that is it. This one is over. Lawrence Clay-Bey, first professional fight in which he did not knock out his opponent, but he gets in the 8 rounds, and that's very valuable for him in the early stages of his professional career. We have more to come here tonight. Bernard Hopkins in the now, and here is Thomas Triber with a decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards, and we have a unanimous decision. All 3 judges, Jodi Wingfield, Gary Companeschi, and Kenny Chevalier scored the bout exactly the same, 80-71, in favor of your winner, Lawrence Clay-Bey.
This is the shutout, the knockdown of Monaco in the first round, but so far the best heavyweight we have seen tonight.